In this tutorial, our object is to learn modes and transparency and how that interacts with each other. And we're going to be doing a collage. Once again, do whatever sort of collage you want to do. I just want to pull a whole bunch of things together and see if I can make them work as a piece. So let me see. I'll take a butterfly, some cars, a city, clouds, coastline, and a lake. We could drag this to the Photoshop icon in the dock, but you can also hold down Control on your keyboard and click and do an open with. Just another way to do it. And there we go. Let's look at these, what we have here. I'm thinking the clouds would be a good background. That way we can kind of have a simple enough background that we can figure everything out. Let's see how big that is to see if it's big enough. And yeah, that's relatively large for what we're doing, what we're working with. So I would like to desaturate everything. That's kind of it's a cheating way to do to do a collage, but we're kind of stuck here with time constraints. And now I'll take the rectangular key, take approximately half of that, and I'll copy that side, and I'll paste it on the top. Now that will automatically give us two layers over here. One layer the left side and one layer with the right side. So we've talked about variations before. And that's what we're going to use this time. I'm thinking I want to do something with city versus country. So make one side that color, the other side more of a bluish color, and I still think we're going to have to play with these a little bit. I'm going to desaturate them a little bit. Let's merge visible. We have our two sides. Actually, let's take and make the boundary between them a little less obvious. We don't want a hard edge here, so let's put a blur on that. My favorite blur. That'd be one way to do it. It's still not quite enough. So here's a tool here. It's kind of interesting, the blur tool. You can find it with the smudge tools, usually the default. So let's take that blur tool. We have a lot of control over the blur tool. We can control size, mode, strength, everything. It's a little bit better. Let's blur a little bit more. It's not going to work for us. It's too slow. I think we really need to go nuts with this. So let's do here we go. More. Blur with the blur tool. We're kind of getting there. It's so obvious. Okay. There we go. I like that. Now we can do that. Merge. Merge visible. That will make one layer where there were two. Let's desaturate it a little bit. And don't do desaturate. We just want to desaturate it a little bit. Not have it quite so powerful. There we go. And let's pull our butterfly in. But I don't want my whole butterfly, but I also don't want to just isolate a butterfly. So let's do kind of what we did before with the old-fashioned girl. Maybe there you go. Select inverse. And we're going to blur it quite a bit. Because remember, our object, the object of the game here is to make things look like they're merged. Kind of a collage effect. That's probably about what we want. Let's get rid of that background and see if that's really what we want. And that's pretty good. So now we have our butterfly. We want to black and white it, sort of blend in. Drag and drop. And we can always erase part of our edge. Here we haven't really talked about the controls on the tools, but you have a lot of control here. Let's take the opacity down, about 38. And that way you can do more of a mellow paint on our butterfly. Let's get rid of the hard edges especially. Don't want any hard edges. And there we go. Modes are fun to work with. Remember, even with modes, we can control and adjust all kinds of things. Make them lighter and darker. And so they blend. And let's take, I'm going to choose the cityscape. That looks kind of cool. So I'll just take the cityscape and copy and paste that. Resize it so that it fits. Desaturate it. Maybe put the butterfly on the top eventually. Let's just deal with the oops, cityscape now. Our eraser tool. We've got the opacity set real low. Let's move it up again. And I just want to make this transparent. So let's play with that a little bit. Take the opacity down until you feel like it kind of fits. And let's take our lake. Just drag that in there as it is and figure it out at this point. Remember, we want to just change one thing. We'll go to edit and edit the scale as opposed to image. We're not going to mess with our entire image. Hold down Shift if we want to keep it constant. Find a nice point for that. And let's keep it there. Working with that layer, we'll click off all the other layers and just work with that layer for a while. Make it a little bit less obvious. And let's see what that will look like. And remember our little blur tool here. Let's make that a little more realistic. And we've got a choice here. How do we want to blend the mountain? So let's just play around with that. And that looks pretty good. So our collage. Always we want to be bold. Let's find a nice font. And type something. City and country. I have no idea what that means, but it seemed appropriate. So go into our font book. While we're thinking about what would be an appropriate font, Okay, here we go. City and country, remember, bold. We want to be bold. And about the city and country. It's a little bit too much there. Move those around until we get it just the way we want. And just for fun, let me try something here. Let's give it a little bit of something else to make it stand out. Ooh, there we go. City and country. I think we need a little bit more of something, so let's try a little bit more. I think we're getting there. And here we go, a little bit more of exaggeration. And that's what I want you to do, more or less, is to have a collage and work with blending. So let's file, save for web, like we always do. And oops, let's see what we have the right size here. Sorry. And image size. Yeah, it's way too big. Okay, keep it around 5 inches, 4 to 5. Here we go. Now we can go. Save for web. Save it. Remember, this is Photoshop, and this is Photoshop Tutorial 5. So there we go.